Inside ID have been exclusively invited to cover the launch of the Red Thread rugs by Staffan Tollgard and Jab. Now Staffan, we're very excited to hear about the rug designs, the creative flow, where you get the concept from. Please take us through the whole story.
Oh gosh, where do I start? I was asked about 6 months ago, a little bit longer, to could I please consider designing a collection of rugs for Jab, and flattered, excited, nervous. I set about doing research, starting, and what we're going to see today is the result of that. So it started with the inspiration for this collection was all textures, textures within materials, natural and man-made. And then it was really a fantastic collaboration with Jab, understanding what I could and couldn't do in terms of production, fully understand that what their hand tufting technique can do in terms of wool, in terms of silk, in terms of cutting, in terms of different pile heights, in terms of loop piles and so on. And then that really gave me the tools in order to then take these textures one step further. So what started as a two-dimensional photograph or sketch could then be turned into a very tactile and very textural rug. And yeah, so the collection is called the Red Thread. It's something I have bored many people about, but it's the way I design. It's the kind of it's the guiding principle of any creative endeavor. It's kind of what I step back to whenever I lose my bearing, and I find it again. And it's different for every project. It's different for, in this case, for a product range. So there is actually a Red Thread rug. It was the last one in the collection as opposed to the first one, where they felt that the collection was very strong. And I kept on going on about this red thread throughout the process of explaining the narrative behind each piece. So they said, can't you just design a red thread rug as well? So eventually we did, and that made up the 8 that we have here today.
Wonderful, wonderful. And can you explain a little bit about this wonderful one behind us on the wall, as we've got it on?
This one is called Scratched, and it's meant to reveal what you get if you start scratching the surface of anything, really, what lies underneath and what gets revealed. So here we're actually using these techniques that I spoke about, or pretty much all of them. We're using silk, we're using wool, we're using loop piles, cut piles, the hand cutting and shearing that they can do in order to create the wonderful contours, and that has created the kind of multifaceted texture of the rug itself. So that it is aptly called Scratched, and it kind of, I feel, shows the name. I think the design is apt for the name.
And did you find the color scheming difficult? I mean,
yeah, that was. You'll find that there's, like I said, there's a strong narrative in all of the pieces. So some of them felt like the color was that we've showing today was very obvious. So the drop one, for instance, which is the droplets or the ripples of water on the rug here, felt that it needed to be blue or blue-green, or it felt like the narrative needed to shine through. Scratched is one that can actually work in any color. Yeah. It depends on what color do you start with and what color do you end up with, so what lies beneath that surface. Yeah. But there's a few designs in the range where you can choose any color you want, and it would really still be a very strong rug in terms of the narrative. And there's maybe others that you should some colors that are better than others, yeah. if we say. Drop is there's an element, I guess, of collaboration with the client or the end user anyway, which is fantastic, and Jab again are very good at being able to do that. So the drop rug, which is the ripples here again, is you can choose where you drop where you have your ripples. And that can mean that it becomes part of the interior. It's not just a rug that you buy and then put a coffee table on the top. You know, where the ripples are can have very much to do with the design of the room and the design of the where the furniture goes. And that's the case for one of my favorite things is on the red thread rug. You can choose where the thread starts and where it finishes. So where your journey begins and where it finishes. You can also choose if you're a bit of a chaotic personality, you might have quite a scribbly red line, and if you slightly more organized, it might be a very calm, flowing red thread. Here again, we chose different materials. So the red thread is in silk, and the remainder of the rug is in wool. So, and the drop again. All in wool, but you see that the texture is the big thing here. So the height difference between the top of the ripples and the base of the rug is substantial, and that creates the wonderful texture.